Whiplash, this is Blackbeard. I have positive control of the Raven.
I often enjoy hunting in games. The stalking, chasing, trapping, and killing is a nice diversion to the main focus of most games. It's even more memorable when the beasts are capable of turning it against the player. Sure, you can chase down a deer or rabbit, but it's more exciting when you can suffer death at the end of a claw or fang. That's what Cabelas realized in 2003 with their first title in the Dangerous Hunts category. As far as I'm aware, the prior entries in the Big Game Hunter series were combat-free. It was more about locating and getting a shot off. Predators would even avoid the player. I mean, my childhood hunting game I played on the family PC was 3D Hunting Grizzly, and you cannot tell me the Man-Eater stage wasn't terrifying.
Watch out now. He's got...
So with Cabela's publishing, they had Fun Labs handle the Xbox and PC version, while Sandgrain Studios handled the PS2. From what I've seen and vaguely remember of the PS2, there aren't any significant differences. Starting the game up, you're presented with something later titles will drop, a very mild character creator. You have a handful of options to pick from, with your only customization coming from a handful of skin presets. I wouldn't worry much about the stats. Over the course of gameplay, they can increase and decrease. I'll get on that later, but come the end of my playthrough, I had nearly everything maxed out. I wouldn't call Dangerous Hunts a particularly hard game, however the player can easily trap themselves. In order to embark on charters or challenges, you need to purchase equipment. However, what the game fails to make clear is that there is no base gear. If you didn't purchase clothing, then you cannot go hunt. The game warden doesn't like when you go full spear, it seems. The equipment can come off as weird. You have two options for each clothing category: light, medium, heavy, and a supposedly perfect stealth. I can follow the stealth outfits fitting their seasons, but the camoed versus orange outfits simply do nothing. Even the game remarks that it's just good manners, essentially. At least you get a nice selection of weapons, various rifles and shotguns, along with a few handguns and some knives. Just be careful when swapping out stuff. As I said earlier, you can trap yourself easily. This is due to the fact that you don't store items. You can buy a rifle, but if you want another, then you need to trade it in for another. This goes for all items. Well, for charters, this isn't a huge deal, since the only thing you need to worry about past clothing and weapons is the tags for your target. However, challenges require you to take specific gear into the field. In some cases, it may require you to be restricted in gear. One challenge requires you to escape to a cabin with only a knife. Instead of restricting your access and giving you a knife, the game requires you to sell all your gear, not just weapons, but lures, GPS, and even ammo. The challenges are the core of this game's progression. While charters are where you can more easily make money, you largely need only focus on the challenges, most of which also make you money. The requirements are usually just to have cleared a certain number of challenges, though some require your accuracy to be up or to have bagged a specific animal in a specific map. Challenges do also help unlock more charters. Also, these names are great. You could tell someone had a fun time coming up with these names. Some of them, like the Messenger of Mercy, comes off like campaign names for Left 4 Dead. While the majority will see players having to take out targets with a specific weapon or within a certain distance, you do get some variety. A few challenges require the player to locate a lost hunter, while others task you with fleeing from wolves. It's not the most variety, so you best show up wanting to hunt. Sadly, this is where the game is both good and bad. The intro shows exactly what this game excels at. You, the player, spot a nice buck, so you set up to take the shot, then out of nowhere, a mountain lion attacks. That is when the game is at its best, when it's living up to its title of Dangerous Hunts. From normal targets like wolves and bears to more exotic fare like rhinos, dealing with the threats is tense, especially if you aren't packing proper firepower. Hint, the 10-gauge semi-auto shotgun destroys everything. When under attack, the game will swap to this action camera. It's cool at times, but largely I found it a headache. As well, it could highlight an unseen attacker. It would often occur while I'm trying to line up a shot on the attacker. The game prides itself on the action. For the most part, that succeeds. That said, the game can weirdly get peaceful and cozy with the sounds of streams and birds. Another interesting aspect of this game is that you'll often not be the only one hunting. You can often find predators hunting other critters, and sometimes some infighting. Do be quick though, as your tags are not immune, and any animal killed by another cannot be claimed. Going back to the sound, I do have a gripe with that. On stream, I did one challenge where I had to hunt boar. Now they kept being killed by another animal, so I picked up the pace. I heard wolves howling, so I headed off in their direction, only to find myself at the edge of the map. The reality was, there were never any wolves to begin with. I hear wolves. Hold on. Oh, maybe there's not a dangerous animal. Maybe the boars just killed each other. And that's why I kept saying, another animal has killed your target. That might actually be what fucking happened. Okay. In a game like this, where you'd assume hunting your target is important, the addition of animal noises to the ambient soundtrack can screw over the player. This is not aided by the fact the hunting is subpar at best. See, predators are said to be uber aggressive to the player, so getting into a tussle with them is a matter of roaming the map to eventually be confronted. However, animals like deer or sheep, who can still attack in some cases, will largely avoid you. This is fine, but the mechanics for hunting seemingly are broken. You are given a variety of means to lure targets, and when the game is set to easy, your prey is even highlighted by a red dot. So I tried luring predators with calls and meat while I sat in the blind. Nothing happened. I seemingly never even garnered their attention, nor did I ever see them interact with the meat I placed. Prey animals are even worse. They get spooked super easily, even if you are maxing out your stealth. They seem capable of seeing you through terrain. I thought I had a perfect setup with a male dummy and some rattling antlers. One seemed to come running nearby, so I stepped out to pop him, only to discover a pack of wolves was chasing him around. I assumed I was merely missing the mark of the game, but when I searched up walkthroughs of people who knew what they were doing, they just spawned in, marched around, and shot the target as soon as they saw a pixel. I suppose it's cool to have some attempt at behavior for them. Supposedly when the weather shifts to a heavy rain, which it did once, they lay down under trees. I never saw this, but I did see that animals do patrol, rest, and occasionally investigate other animals. That's cool, but when using hunting methods prove ineffective to simply running around, it defeats the core aspect of the game. Speaking of running, I should note that you have a status system. Largely, you don't need to pay it any mind, apart from that they can lead to a game over. The only one of note is the stamina meter, a meter that drains much too quickly, even when packing only a sidearm. Once it hits 0, you have to wait for it to recharge. Again, very slowly. You can push through that at a heavily reduced pace, but this will drain your character's stats. Of those stats, I suppose tracking is important. However, you can't see tracks. It simply comes down to you mashing your left bumper in the hopes you get something. Even then, you need it maxed out to ascertain the direction of your target's path. However, the trail goes cold way too fast, so you cannot stalk them with a crouch walk. Again, it sides with chasing after the target and hoping you find it before you spend an hour wandering an empty map. The maps are also lacking heavily. About half are narrow paths, but they're okay, while others are very strict and even more narrow that are simply not fun to navigate. The handful of maps that are larger do offer a vehicle, and it's serviceable. Just remember, ATVs are not applicable to open seasons.
This is your first warning.
By the way, the only camouflage that seemed to actually work somewhat was the blind. The other options I tried, but they never proved useful, as even in a stand I would spook animals. At least the beasts have okay animations, even if they do glitch occasionally. That said, using the scopes you quickly discover that foliage pop-in is easily frequent and can disturb what you thought was a clean firing line. Also, despite what the game says, I never found crouching in reeds or tall grass to be effective concealment. At the very least, the campaign goes out on a genuine high note. While hunting the 3 Impalas is a frustrating mission, the final challenge called Suicide is great. Recommended for everyone. I tried it myself. Tasked with taking down a rhino, the player is only given access to a bow. It's a fun challenge that actually feels like a proper challenge. At the very least, the game remembered to have you take on what it has as the ultimate dangerous hunt. Engagement, then fucking the Impala. Oh, Jesus Christ! Wait, yes! The Tranger flow through you, come on. Charge me, you dumb man! I can out- What?! Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, I'm alive. Wait! Right through his fucking mouth! Like a sci-fi channel original. Okay, how do we go about, oh boy. Additionally, the game offers 2 other modes. Quick Hunt is just charter without the money aspect, while Action Zone is a pleasant surprise. It's a stage-based horde mode. The player drops in with their equipment of choice, though the game does have recommended builds, and then the player must survive wave after wave. Well, it's more you drop in, fight a group that spawns at the same time, then walk into a portal that takes you to another group. Doing all of them results in a brief panning shot victory screen. It's a fun distraction, but isn't something I see myself going back to frequently. It's no Gears of War 3 horde mode. Why is it always portals with games I've been reviewing lately? Oh no. Dangerous Hunts 1 is an honest try, blending Cabela's prior attempts at a hunting simulation with a bit more action. I think if they had decided to stick with this, they could have made something truly great. But as we will see, the franchise took many turns far away from the original work. This title was simply weighed down by the poor hunting mechanics, overly sensitive AI, and general lack of actual depth to the sandbox. You quickly realize the most effective way is often to simply march around and blast a target when it runs by. I don't see myself returning to Dangerous Hunts 1, as well I enjoyed the danger aspects I found the rest lacking. It became search and destroy the game, with half the targets clawing at me. I do hear that Hunter Call of the Wild carried through with having predators capable of attacking the player. It is nice to see that aspects of this game continue to this day. This game sucked, so others could hunt. Dangerous Hunts.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.